Log 743. Pawn 76 and its player failed. When a pawn collapses, so does everyone living inside, sharing the same fate, which is why I'm leaving these records. I don't know if anyone will ever actually read them, but I hope you can avoid our fate. Whatever you do, at any cost, do not go against the players. It doesn't matter how strong your weapons or skills are. In the end, we're just a single piece on their game board. Everything goes black. Someone approaches him, finding the record tucked away in his armor. They flip through the notebook, admitting the strategies are pretty solid. Then they toss it and walk off, saying they know all that stuff already. Someone else holds out a handful of dice. A twisted smile forms as they cast a spell. The guy with the notebook mutters there's just one thing the other person missed. The creature lunges to attack, but he swiftly dodges it. He says the one thing they missed is that players can be beaten with the guidebook, and he has no intention of just sitting around. It began as a totally normal, peaceful day, like any other. A few guys were just hanging out, chatting, and our main character shows up, headphones on, jamming to music. No one had a clue what was about to go down. While strolling down the street, the ground suddenly splits open beneath him. He's totally confused. That day would be remembered forever. A blinding light flashes, startling everyone. People start to panic, thinking it's a terrorist attack or an earthquake, but that was their last truly peaceful day. The whole city is swallowed by a strange, bright blue light. Our protagonist is stunned, trying to shield his face from the intense glow. Then something catches his eye, grabbing his full attention. He's standing right on the edge of a cliff. He wonders, what the hell is going on? His head is pounding. Tons of terrified people are behind him, all asking the same thing. Our guy wonders if this is dimensional travel or transmigration. Like in a level-up manhwa he's read, he can't tell if any of this is real. Then suddenly, system windows pop up before them all. It's an announcement. The game has begun, and everyone needs to roll their dice. The protagonist wonders what kind of game this is, what the message means. Then a woman screams, pointing up, yelling for everyone to look. Something terrifying is up there. Our protagonist looks up and is stunned. It's a die. A giant die falls through the sky, showing the number 3. The system window updates. Pawn number 8 moves forward 3 spaces. A path appears before them. A huge base with the number 8 materializes as powerful magic surges around. Someone screams that the city is moving. A terrified child clutches their mother, saying they're scared. The protagonist starts putting it together. They've been summoned into a game, but they're not the actual players. They're the pawns, which must mean the players are the ones rolling the dice and moving them around. The city lurches forward, as if taking 3 giant steps. Then it stops, and our hero realizes they're not the pawn. The city itself is the pawn. But if the player just needed a pawn, why not summon the city alone? So why'd they drag everyone living in it? 2. Another message flashes on the protagonist's system window. It says they've entered a defensive zone, with difficulty and defense time now being set. Difficulty, level 1. A die rolls, landing on 1. A second die hits 3. Defense time, 3 days. A new announcement drops. A weird dome encases the city, and the very ground starts to rise. Everyone's stunned, like the earth just appeared out of nowhere. Nobody has a clue what's going on. Another system alert flashes. The defense mission begins shortly. If all 4 bases get wrecked, it's game over. Inside the city, 4 spots are marked as bases by glowing arrows. And in case of game over, the pawn dies. Our hero wonders if the pawn dies. Do they all croak too? People start freaking out, screaming that this is total nonsense and shouldn't be happening in the first place. Our main character calmly takes off his headphones. He figures there's no point in making a scene. If they needed to talk, someone would have said something from the start. This is like a strange level-up manhwa. The best move now is to just focus on the announcements. A new one pops up, telling all citizens to roll their dice. The result sets their class. The protagonist watches a die materialize. It's a 100-sided beast. Someone else screams out, terrified, yelling that something's coming their way. And it definitely ain't the cavalry. A massive horde of monsters is closing in fast. Suddenly, everyone bolts, running for their lives as the monsters charge the crowd. And they're catching up quick. Even our hero runs, while those who fall behind are mercilessly torn apart. These creatures show zero pity. Blood is painting the city streets. Our guy realizes this is why humans must protect the pawn. These monsters are invading the city, attacking everyone. They have to defend this place, defend the pawn, so it can reach the final goal. A dice game played by beings who could be gods or demons. That's what this whole mess is. The monsters flood the city. Plenty go down, but they just keep coming. Then, suddenly, a woman appears behind a creature. She's wielding a massive, flame-engulfed axe. And she swings, and the monsters are blown away, scorched, and wrecked. Everyone just stares. Stunned. They were wiped out in an instant. Nobody knows who this woman is. She's a player character. Her name's Gohu, and she's just level 1. Her class, ordinary citizen. Her weapon, a legendary spear that channels the power of a freaking flame dragon. The white-haired woman shouts for the injured to get to Namson. The military and cops are setting up a defensive line there. Everyone, roll your dice. One guy asks, you mean that weird 100-sided thing? She screams back that when they roll, they'll get gear based on the number. If you get a common weapon, fall back. If you get magical or higher, you fight. People start rolling. And just like Gohu said, weapons start appearing in their hands. More monsters show up, closing in fast. The crowd panics, but the woman screams, grab your weapons. That day, their normal lives were shredded, replaced by a wild, new kind of level-up manhwa. On the first day of the new year, countless lives vanished. Hiyu fought with all she had, along with a few others. And just like that, heroes were born. Our level-up manhwa protagonist was a survivor of those first days. He was a level 1, ordinary citizen class. His name was Choi. On the 8th pawn's turn, he rolled his 100-sided die. It rolled and rolled, finally landing on 100. And just like that, he became someone special, someone who would soon be known by everyone as the worst piece of trash. This achievement revealed a magic text to him. He was destined to become the Demon King of Sovereignty. From the Book of Kran, a mythical class magic text appeared before him. It granted him access to the Demon King Krass's library, which lets the user see all kinds of information, item locations, secret events, monster data, maps, objectives, everything. The moment the mission began, the book opened before our protagonist. The text revealed one more thing. Krasma is an incarnation with a monopolistic desire, which means any reward gained using the book's knowledge goes straight to the book's owner. And that was all Choi needed. 3 hours after the defense mission began, there were 3,012 deaths and 7,023 critical injuries. One of the 4 bases was completely destroyed. Gasping, Hiyu says, it's finally over. People cheered, they'd survived. They actually beat that wave of enemies. Suddenly, a military truck rolls up. It's the Korean army. Soldiers hop out, telling civilians and the injured to get inside. They were being evacuated to Namson Tower. A soldier thanks Hiyu, saying she really gave it her all. But she replies it was nothing special. The soldier says thanks to the time she bought them, the military and police organized and are now being sent to different zones. That guy is Kusayang, a level 1, ordinary citizen. He's wearing the Helm of Helden, a heroic class item. Thanks to an unshakable faith, the wearer is immune to confusion, fear, or disorientation. Hiyu says that means it's finally over, but Ku responds that phones and the internet are down, so it's hard to be sure. They're using shortwave radios and should get status reports soon. For now, they must head to Namson Tower. Hiyu agrees, until someone behind them shouts, no, it's not over, it's our hero, Choi. He's holding a book, and though he's injured, he says a boss will appear soon. He explains, the book has all the mission details, monster info, current progress. Everything is written in it. He turns the book to them and asks them to look, but when they do, Hiyu says it's just a blank page. Zayang, the soldier, confirms he sees nothing either. Hiyu asks if it's a manual only he can read. Ku thinks so. He guesses it's an information-based artifact. Choi is stunned. He's the only one who can read it. A frustrated Ku thinks to himself, if that's true, then Choi has one seriously broken item. In a world like this, info is power. So he tells Choi to give them everything. Choi is confused, but Ku demands proof of what's actually in the book. So, Choi starts reading. He says the Helm of Helden is a heroic class item. It's part of a 6-piece set, currently used by Sergeant Jayu. He's got 21 days till he's out. As for Gohi, her weapon is a legendary item, the Fang of the empireal flame dragon. But get this, her favorite karaoke song is Shill Gap Mountain. Hiju goes beet red, flustered, and tells him to knock it off. She says if the book has personal info like that, it has to be real. Choi agrees it's a legitimate data book. If that's true, then the boss is definitely on its way. Choi's expression hardens. He says they've confirmed the artifact's power and are in touch with Hu. Elsewhere, someone mutters that they think about this sometimes. If this world were a level-up Manhwa, he'd be a glitch in the system, because everything here feels way too easy. It's a dude in a striped outfit and a headband. He says that's why he was made this way, to be kept from the outside world. He's surrounded by toys and games. It's like the system admin found a bug and just quarantined it. But if the day ever comes when he can enter the real world, back in the city, someone yells for Choi, and the kid snaps to attention. It's Sergeant Jayu, who says HQ gave the green light. It's a crapshoot, but they have no better plan, and no time to waste. So, they've decided to trust Choi's intel. Choi looks pretty on edge. Jayu hands him a walkie, asking for all the intel and countermeasures he can give. Choi nods. He tests the radio, asking if they can hear him, then begins to explain the defense mission. This is a defense mission. They have to protect the bases from monster waves that arrive every 6 hours. A boss will appear at the end of each wave. This time, it is a two-headed ogre. Its difficulty is level 1, and it uses both close-range attacks and magic at once. Choi says they win if they defend the base 4 times a day, 12 times in 3 days, and beat the final monster wave's boss. He has all the mission data. If they use that info to make a strategy, they can survive. After that, he says he will find a way back to their original world. Hearing this leaves Hiju completely speechless. This guy isn't just focused on the current mission. He's already thinking several steps ahead. Choi gets serious, saying it's time to start. But he should have double-checked something he missed while he was out cold. It's the fine print on the item Book of Kran, the sacrifice of sovereignty's defense. It hijacks all rewards from anyone the information was shared with. It began with Gohu and Jayu, but its reach is far wider. Everyone Choi talks to will be affected. And it's not just for people who heard the info directly from him. It includes anyone who heard it secondhand or even just through rumors or something similar. In other words, any information that originates with him ends up harming those around him, meaning the army fighting the boss and monsters could be in serious danger just from this knowledge. And yet, despite that risk, they keep fighting and winning, again and again, under Choi's command. But the longer they fight, the more their lives are on the line. With more people tied to Troy's book, the roster of names under the Demon King of Sovereignty, Kranina, just keeps growing. Meanwhile, Pawn 8's total population is 193,256. Sacrifices have already hit 176,542. In just a single day, 91% of the population was marked for sacrifice, and that was only the start of Choice sins, which would stretch all the way to the final moments of the game. This defense mission is basically a tower defense game. Enemies are swarming from all directions. Monsters are heading for the bases, trying to wreck them, while players must build forces to stop them. A new wave of creatures starts nearing the population, and Choi orders the army to strike. First, blast them with wide-area long-range weapons. Then, while the first weapons are reloading, launch a second wave of attacks with the other long-range gear. Level 1 difficulty. The monsters aren't intelligent, so they're terrible at defending themselves or coordinating. The army unloads everything from behind barricades. It's incredibly easy to bait the monsters exactly where they want them. The creatures just mindlessly charge forward. Injure them enough and the monsters will scatter. Then, they run right into elite units with high-tier gear that'll wipe them out in one fell swoop. Troy keeps giving directions, where to hold formation, which spots need more troops. The Book of Kran updates in real time, tracking everything happening. That way, Troy always knows what's up. He just thinks about the info he wants, flips a page, and it appears instantly. As long as he holds the book, he can access it. With it, Troy relays it all. What gear is best for long-range support? When to hold the line, when to push, and exactly when the monsters will group up. With everyone on plan, they can survive. Smoke blankets the city. Monsters get blasted from every direction. The army keeps pushing forward. Captain Jayu announces the area is secure and tells 3rd Squad to begin their sweep. The commander silently reflects. At first, HQ had final say on Choi and Wu's plans, but now Choi's running the show. Like the star of a level-up manhwa, he keeps quiet, recalling what Choi said. The book only provides information. So, if he's commanding an entire city like this, maybe he could do it before, unless that's a hidden ability of the book. Ka calls for Sergeant Jayu, who turns and asks, "What's up?" The kid says they're almost done. Jian asks if this means the final wave's boss is appearing. Koi smiles, telling him not to worry. Hiu will finish this, once and for all. The girl's asleep until she is suddenly jolted awake. A massive creature stands before her, and she's totally startled. It's a boss. Billy the Giant. A level 1 difficulty monster. A giant born weak, big in size, but lacking combat power. Hiu is in a military vehicle. Fa asks if she's awake. Panicking, she asks why nobody woke her up sooner. They fire signal flares at the monster, and it goes berserk, swinging massive punches. Ku watches in shock at the sheer force behind its attacks. Troy yells that this is exactly why they brought her out here. If that thing hits the city, the bases are gone in a flash. The good news is, the giant is slow and pretty weak against elemental attacks. So if they just keep the pressure on, it'll go down. Hiu looks around, saying, "It's just the two of us out here." But Choi says he isn't talking about them, he means just her. The girl is absolutely stunned. The monster charges and Hiu wonders what the hell she should do. Then Choi says items above heroic class have hidden traits. If certain conditions are met, the item's form can change. Not only that, a hidden ability also gets activated. Choi explains that to unlock those traits, they must fulfill specific conditions. And luckily, the book lists every condition for every item, giving them a huge advantage. Hiu stands before the enemy and asks, "Are you absolutely sure about this?" From a distance, Choi yells for her to trust him and the book. Worried, the girl grumbles that this feels wrong, but says she trusts him. Then she stabs herself in the stomach with her weapon. The ogre raises its arms to strike. As the ogre's blow lands on Hiu, Sergeant Jayu screams her name in panic, but Troy calmly says she's fine. A red aura swirls around the giant and Hiu. All the conditions have been met. With that, the hidden ability of the Fang of the Imperial Flame is activated. Choi and Jayu are stunned by what's happening. An Imperial Flame Dragon is summoned. It's a one-use per mission ability. It charges the giant and unleashes a massive explosion, one that's visible from outside the city. Jayu comments if that ability had gone off inside the city, it would have been a disaster. But something's even more dangerous. Choi's book. That book holds incredibly dangerous information. If it's misused, it could cause the fall of the entire city. Still, Jayu thinks maybe it's good that Choi is the one holding it. Then a system announcement rings out. Defense mission complete. Civilians outside the city will now be transferred back inside. Rewards will be given to all survivors. They've earned 300 points. Additionally, there will be individual rewards based on contribution, how many monsters they defeated, and how much they helped defend the base, and their role in the boss battle. Those will be calculated and distributed soon. The population is amazed. It works just like a times level up Manhwa asterisk. Now the point shop is open, where they can buy healing abilities, equipment, and more. People are overjoyed just to have survived. At the healing shop, points can be used to treat wounds, purify status effects, and even regenerate lost limbs. Over at the hospital, the nurse strongly suggests that everyone choose healing first. Troy sighs in relief, happy the injured will be okay. But then, something catches his attention, and everyone else's, too. The system suddenly announces all reward points are now 0. All rewards have been taken due to the sacrifice of sovereignty effect. Panic erupts. No one knows what that even means, and people start freaking out, demanding their reward points back. Worried, Hiu turns to Choi and asks what's going on. He says he doesn't know either. The system then explains the sovereignty sacrifice is based on how many citizens were lost. The more people lost, the bigger the total reward. Suddenly, a notification pings for each of them, showing who received the mission points. To everyone's shock, Choi got 9 billion points. The crowd is stunned, then enraged. They shout at Choi, demanding how he got so many points. Kaiju and Jayu shield him as the furious mob closes in. Everyone is convinced he did it on purpose to steal the rewards. Desperate, Choi pleads, saying he didn't know about this. Jayu tells him to be calm. First, help the injured. He figures maybe points can be traded or donated. If Choi shares the points, it'll prove he didn't mean to. If he doesn't, people will assume it was on purpose. Panicking, Choi agrees. But when he opens the system to transfer, a passive ability activates. Demon King of Monopolistic Desire. It denies all sharing of points and items. Choi panics, completely confused, not knowing what this ability is. The enraged crowd screams for him to hand over the points. Choi tries buying healing items to give to others, but the system blocks that, too. Frantic, Choi yells at Hiu, "Burn it!" He throws the book down. He reopens the system, hoping for a change. But instead, the book begins moving on its own, as if alive. Choi growls in frustration while Hiu watches, clearly worried for him. All around them, people are panicking, begging for points. Some are fading without them. Hope turns into rage and resentment. Everyone wants to hunt down and destroy Choi in this level-up manhwa. The crowd tells Sergeant Jayu the death toll is rising, and the citizens are furious. Choi mutters, "There has to be a way." He picks the book back up, but suddenly, a rifle is aimed at his head. It's Sergeant Jayu, who tells him that's enough. It's for the greater good. Jayu announces Choi is under arrest. The population erupts, screaming, "Arrest isn't enough. They should just end the scammer." Kaiju tries calming them down, but the people are too enraged to listen. Meanwhile, Jayu quietly steps closer to Choi and tells him to run. He must get out and find a way to fix this mess. It's the best they can do now. Choi clenches his fist in frustration, then opens the system window. The crowd shouts. He's trying something again, but he's faster. He spends points on agility. In an instant, he vanishes, gone in a flash. The crowd explodes in fury, yelling, "He escaped." Then the system announces, "Time until next turn, 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds. People panic. That's not enough time to recover. Jayu yells for everyone to move to safe zones now. The injured must be driven. Meanwhile, Hiu stares at the sky, deep in thought. The people scramble to organize, separating into who will fight and who will evacuate. They're told to watch system windows and stay inside evac zones. Everyone must memorize base and safe center locations, and if they happen to run into Choi, their orders are to bolt immediately. They must report his location and then flee as fast as possible. They're forbidden from following any of Choi's advice. If someone becomes a sovereignty sacrifice and hides it, it's treated as a crime punishable by law. Jayu and his squad start brainstorming new strategies for the battle. Meanwhile, Hiju is also gearing up for a fight. Most of the population evacuates, trying to escape what's coming. Fights erupt and the people's faith is shaken. 24 hours later, the system declares a new turn. All players, roll your dice. Pawn number 8. Your city moves forward 4 spaces. You've arrived at the Demon King's Seal Square. Demonic pillar guardians will now spawn to protect the pillars. The population's job is to destroy all demonic pillars. If the pillars aren't smashed in time, the Demon King will be summoned. A die is rolled for the mission duration, 5 days. There will be 3 pillars, each with its own guardian. The first pillar has a level 1 guardian, the aimless fallen angel. A fallen angel just wandering around, seeking its lost purpose. The second pillar also gets a level 1 guardian, the mad brains, a creature that compulsively creates. The longer it lives, the more dangerous its gadgets become. But the third pillar's guardian is level 3, which catches Hiju and Jayu off guard. It's a goblin swordmaster, a being who hit the peak of martial arts and shattered his physical limits. Now he's trying to break the seal to challenge the Demon King himself. In the meantime, Choi lays low inside a warehouse, surrounded by scattered papers and mystic symbols. He's smiling, completely satisfied with this chaos. Over the walkie-talkie, someone reports to Jayu. The citizens are already attacking. They went right for the fallen angel. We tried stopping the crowd, but they are totally out of control. Concerned, Jayu says they should head out too, and then asks if Hiju is ready to go. But one of his men says she already took off a little while ago. The captain sighs. It's pure chaos now. Their smooth teamwork completely fell apart after only 1 day. Hiju went alone to fight the final guardian, that level 3 monster. Her goal, take it down before anyone else dies because of it. As she attacks, a burst of flame explodes, but when the smoke clears, she sees she didn't even scratch him. The swordmaster spins his blade once, knocking hers away. Then a strange blue light appears. The swordsman looks confused. His focus shifts completely. Someone is approaching with quiet, measured steps. He catches Hiju in midair and gently sets her down. The girl just stares, stunned. "You're back," she asks. Choi nods and asks if she can still talk to the others. He wants her to deliver his message. "All the rewards will be used for me alone." Hiju is caught completely off guard. She doesn't get what he means. Then Choi says it plainly. "Tell everyone not to show up in front of me again, unless they want their rewards stolen. No way to return the rewards. No way to ditch the curse book." So, Choi opens his status window to start his own level-up manhwa. Smiling, he announces he's going to max out all his stats. Hiju is stunned by how insanely fast it is happening. All over the city, citizens get notifications that Choi is maxing out his stats, and they absolutely go ballistic. Choi's rolling the dice for the best equipment he can get. If this is what he's stuck with, then he might as well use it. He'll take full advantage of the rewards he bled for, plus the Demon King's power. Before the Pillar Guardian stands Choi, glowing with a red aura. He has made his decision. He's going to save this city from the game and get back to real life. It's the only way to atone for his sins. So he doesn't care if people scream insults at him. The Goblin Swordmaster grins, thrilled to see a worthy foe. But Choi says he has no time to play games. Then he activates his airborne magic sneakers, a heroic class item. They let the user jump and float with a force that's like flying. Choi tells the Guardian, "I'll be back. Just hang on a little longer." Hiju is stunned. He really just left. The Swordmaster calmly sits back down, waiting. Hiju can't believe it. He's actually willing to wait. That Guardian is in no rush. Choi vanishes between rooftops. The Goblin won't attack first, which means he only fights back if provoked. Choi dives in, striking the fallen angel in the head. His plan is to handle the other Pillar Guardians first. When people see him, they scream in fury, accusing him of wasting all their points, but fall silent as they watch the aerial battle unfold. It's Choi versus the Guardian. In this level-up Manhwa world, each has a unique trait unlocked by certain conditions. Some of those traits reveal weaknesses, but if you trigger the wrong ones, they might get stronger or, worse, gain a seriously troublesome ability. The fallen angel fights with all its might to destroy Choi. After it kills 100 humans, it evolves into a humanity-ending version. It then becomes way more powerful and abandons the pillar, focusing on hunting humans instead of guarding. Choi chose this one specifically because it has the most annoying trait, and he plans to unlock it correctly for the mission. He manages to rip off its wings. As it falls, Choi thinks to himself, the important thing isn't just finishing the mission, it's how you finish it. Over the walkie-talkie, John warns everyone to stay at least 500 meters from the pillars until they learn Choi's real intentions. He wonders if Choi truly couldn't return the rewards, or if he simply chose not to do so. Choi didn't seem like a bad guy, but someone that powerful shouldn't just be winging it. A guy that smart and powerful could likely take over the whole city. Even Hiju, who Jayu thought could help keep Choi in check, is losing control. Jayu wonders if they can actually complete this mission. Choi darts through the sky, fighting and flying across the city. From a distance, John watches. Suddenly, a red light flashes by his vehicle, and the entire car is flipped. A soldier rushes over, asking if John's all right. Daisy Dai looks around, confused, and sees the defeated fallen angel on the ground. Standing atop it is Choi, holding its wings. He strikes a heroic pose, wielding a weapon called Divine Divider. It's a legendary class sword, a shard of the blade that split heaven and earth and created the world itself. It can convert chopped-off monster parts into items. Jayu mutters that Choi just took out the Pillar Guardian. Choi just grins and vanishes silently. John notes, Choi didn't say a single word. Maybe it's because of that sovereign sacrifice. He doesn't seem to have any bad intentions. A soldier then confirms the Pillar Guardian is toast. John nods, telling them to report it to HQ. But then the angel starts to twitch again. It's still alive. Apparently, the condition to unlock its special trait was just fulfilled. They were supposed to remove the aimless fallen angel's wings and halo. The unlocked special trait is corruption, and the angel begins to mutate. It transforms into a different being, the Beast of Corruption, a level 2 enemy straight out of a level-up Manhwa, a creature that lost its faith and fell into sin. Jayung's eyes go wide. He mutters that military service is definitely hell. The soldiers move in. Jayung reflects on the mission. There are only 3 monsters. That means each one is as dangerous as a full-scale invasion. He wonders, is Choi really gonna leave us to deal with these things alone? The beast swats aside the soldiers who are trying to stop it. Everyone starts running, screaming for help. Their morale is shot. Basically, they've lost their will to fight. They're all fleeing. Jayoung starts to worry, seeing everyone despair. So he turns to the monster and opens fire. He needs to kite it away from the other soldiers until reinforcements can arrive. But the beast is focused solely on killing him. Jayoung wonders if he can hold out. The beast slams down on him. From afar, Choi cheers, saying he finally controlled one. A green light flashes under the beast's foot, and it hesitates. Then, boom, an explosion goes off. The Helm of Helden has a hidden ability. Its activation conditions were fulfilled. It triggers when the wearer is near death from a corruption attack and leads a group of 5 or more. At that moment, the Ghost of Helden ability is activated. It lasts for 10 minutes. All Jayang's gear and abilities are now infused with divinity. His resistance to corruption skyrockets. His powers spike. 2. The beast stares, confused, not getting what's happening. Then the fanatic ability activates. Every soldier nearby starts going nuts. The fear that once paralyzed them is just gone. Now they fight with everything they have to survive. Koi watches from a distance and mutters, "Okay, this is way darker than I expected." Earlier, someone had told Zhang they'd give him a vet, but he'd be flying solo. He joked, asking if that wasn't too much for a mere surgeon. Kimong replied, "That nerve. I like your guts, Zhang." At first, Zhang didn't know how to react. Then, Kimong said they had barely any intel on the current situation. And, in times like that, what they needed was a calm observer. Someone rational. Someone who doesn't lose their cool. Someone capable of making logical calls under pressure. A cold, level-headed sentinel, now possessed by Helden's spirit, a real level-up Manhwa protagonist. Jayang shouts, "Everyone, attack the enemy." Kimong had been right. Jayang was perfect for this role. With that, everyone joins in, and together they annihilate the corrupted beast. The system announces, "The beast of corruption. The first pillar's guardian is down. Top contributing group, the independent escort squad, led by Sergeant Zhang." Kimong reads the alert silently. Choi cheers, grinning. "See, I freaking told you so." The Guardian's HP was just low enough for Jayang's crew to land the final blow. Even after it got corrupted, its health bar didn't reset. Plus, since the monster had evolved into a new form, Choi's damage count on the original angel got wiped. So, Jayang snagged the top contributor spot, meaning he gets all the loot. Pumped up, Choi turns to the guy beside him and asks, "So, what'd you think?" It's the Swordmaster, who looks totally baffled by Choi's rambling. Choi thanks him for listening. He admits he's been dying to tell someone all this. He just couldn't talk to anyone else before. Then he stares the Swordmaster down, asking, "Wanna make a bet? If I win, you break the Demon King's seal." The Swordmaster is floored. Meanwhile, Hiju is getting swarmed by anti-human machines. They're only level 1 difficulty, but the waves are endless. She keeps taking them down one by one. After the rescue call, she headed to the second pillar, but this fight feels hopeless. Worse, the machines keep evolving. She needs a finisher, like in a level-up manhwa, before they get too strong. She screams for everyone to fall back, but the civilians are totally clueless. They're screaming they need points to save their families. They refuse to give up this fight. All the while, the Pillar Guardian keeps spawning more machines. 2 people are hiding, looking to ambush the Guardian. They decide to finish it themselves, but before they can even move, the creature spots them and fires a laser. Just before it hits, Hiju dives in front, causing a shockwave explosion. She screams for them to run, but by the time she finishes, that pair is already long gone. Hiju cracks a small smile, but the Pillar Guardian isn't finished. It starts scanning her, identifying risk factors. After a full scan, it creates a specialized anti-Hiju unit. She's shocked. Now, she really has to end this. But suddenly, every other machine starts charging right for her. She's startled that they're all targeting her. But to her, that's actually perfect. She unleashes explosions, wiping out as many as she can before the Guardian. She yells for everyone to get back, then fires a ranged attack straight at the massive brain. The blast is immense, so powerful it hits some nearby civilians. Even so, Hiju is thrilled because she pulled it off. She sighs, thinking, "Yeah, this world is anything but easy." Suddenly, an anti-Hiju machine appears. It's fire-resistant, has a Dragon Slayer, and deals bonus damage to kaiju. She's stunned. A machine literally designed to counter her, like a boss in a level-up manhwa. The creature flashes behind her, launching a vicious strike. She barely defends herself, but her vision starts to blur. She's losing consciousness when she sees Choi approaching. He flies right at the Pillar Guardian and rips its head off. Before blacking out, she sees him holding the brain, wondering what the hell he's doing. And just like that, she's out cold. A colossal blast then rocks the battlefield. The elite anti-Hiju squad moves in on her last position, finding nothing but a pool of blood. The target has simply vanished. The machine kicks into tracking mode. The headless Pillar Guardian is somehow still kicking. The condition to unlock its special trait was met, wiping out the insane brain's collective host. The new unlocked trait is Insane Order. Now, it just continuously mass-produces its last creation, doubling its manufacturing speed and output. It won't stop until the main body is toast. Waves of enemies flood out, heading right for the people. The pillar took way too long to fall, and many civilians are now hiding in terror. The people realize the first pillar is way tougher than they imagined, and they're seriously outgunned. Meanwhile, the second pillar is swarmed with monsters, and panic erupts. People are screaming, yelling for the wounded to be evacuated. Stat. Finally, military reinforcements show up. Troy just watches and thinks he could easily wipe them all out himself. But that would be pointless. To win this whole game, not just the mission right here, Troy needs the entire city to get stronger. And for that, he first needs a capable commander. In this case, that's Jayu. And he needs a champion unit. The kind of hero people rally behind in a level-up manhwa. That's Hiju. She suddenly blinks awake. Am I alive? She asks, turning her head to see who saved her, but then sees the swordmaster right by her side. She gasps and screams, but the swordsman tells her, keep it down. Hiju quickly apologizes, saying she was just startled. Then, her jaw drops because the guardian is talking. He says he treated her wounds, but they're short on time and need to start. He tells her, you said something once. After a huge loss, it's always the same cliché. Find a great teacher, train hard and rise again. Hiju just stares blankly, completely confused about what's going on. Meanwhile, the anti-Hiju machine successfully reacquires its target and rockets toward her location. The second it locks on, it begins the annihilation sequence. It launches a devastating blast at Hiju, but unexpectedly, Troy intercepts it, laughing his head off. He fooled the machine using the insane brain's head. Now a heroic class artifact, the machine's targeting is locked, so Troy just redirects its attack down another path. Cue a massive explosion. A glowing blue blast tears through a building, slamming right into the first pillar that the citizens couldn't destroy. Everyone freezes in total disbelief as the pillar collapses. Troy watches and calmly says, yeah, that level of damage should do the trick. Then he smirks and says, thanks for the help. Machine? You're a real pal. Meanwhile, Hiju is training with the swordmaster. He tells her to try using that power. She nods. Ready? The swordsman lowers his hat and says softly, just don't forget what's most important. That power doesn't belong to her, so pushing too far could break her. Instead of borrowing too much blindly, she should only draw what she can handle. As she tries attacking without burning out, the swordmaster tells her, power shouldn't control you. You're supposed to be in charge of it. With a fresh burst of resolve, Hiju lunges to attack the guardian, but after wailing on him again and again, she just collapses, completely gassed. Panting, she asks, did Choi seriously bet I could take down that machine? The man just confirms it. Hiju glares. You've got to be kidding me. The swordmaster just goes dead silent. She sighs. Yeah. His quiet act isn't helping. Then he asks her, why let me train you? Why trust Choi? Why do you even want this power? Hiju slowly gets to her feet. Honestly, I have no clue. There's so much I don't get about the game. The missions. I'm not smart enough to think my way through it all. So, I've got to power up my body first. And maybe if I just keep doing that, I'll start to see things clearer. She stretches. This is just my way. The swordmaster smiles. He'd thought Choi was just using her. But nope. It's totally different. She's a true martial artist, forging her own path. He grins, baring his teeth. All right. Time to get serious with your training. 3 days later, the people are still crammed together, hiding out, exhausted and injured. The evacuees wonder if they should risk helping those still outside. Someone gripes they might lose points. Another retorts that, if they don't help, they could fail the whole mission. Then, a huge crash. Something smashes into the shelter. It's that anti-Hiju machine. Still on the hunt, it scans the area, locking onto its target. Then it just starts blasting everyone nearby. All hell breaks loose. People dive for cover, trying to dodge the deadly machine. Suddenly, something grabs their attention. Someone's descending from the entryway. A woman looks up, squinting. Is that an angel? No, it's Hiju. And this is her big level-up manhwa moment. The system chimes in. Special event conditions met. Hiju became the Goblin Swordmaster's apprentice and inherited his martial arts. Her reward, heroic class gear or better. And now she's decked out in heroic tier armor. Choi glances at the swordmaster. So what's the deal with her new gear? The man just replies. That's my old getup. Choi nods. What are her odds of winning? The swordmaster says. 50-50. That machine was literally built to counter her. But Hiju's got new moves now. The machine barrels toward her at full speed, going for a one-hit KO. The swordmaster comments, if the seed I planted blooms just right, that thing won't be her problem anymore. Hiju now has a new skill, apprentice of the swordmaster. Her close-range weapon skill is skyrocketing. Day 3. 15 hours. And 34 minutes in. Only the first pillar is down. The soldiers inside the van are absolutely livid. Day 3. 17 hours. And 21 minutes in. The second guardian is finally toast. Day 3. 21 hours. And 1 minute in. The anti-Hiju machine is officially scrapped. Everyone is stunned. Day 4. 0 hours. And 3 minutes in. Hiju reappears, leading a whole crew of citizens behind her. Most of the people have rejoined the fight. Day 4. 3 hours and 44 minutes in. The second pillar is finally destroyed. Seeing all this, people start getting their hopes up. They begin to think, hey, maybe we can actually clear this mission without Choi. Or so they thought. The swordmaster tells Choi, my apprentice won. Time to pay up. The citizens and the military start getting organized. They're gearing up with weapons and supplies. Kimong radios Jayu, half joking, I sent that dude to scout, and he comes back playing general. He sighs, whatever. We'll handle the injured. Go do what you gotta do. He's ready to take full responsibility. He radios again, if you pull this off, I'll promote you myself. But that's not what John wants. He just wants to go home. Hiu walks up, saying, come on, Jian. We need to move. He asks her, are you sure you'll be okay? She nods. I promised my master. Next time we meet, we're enemies. Jang blinks, confused, muttering. Why does this feel like it's becoming a level-up manhwa? Zhang wonders, can I actually win this? This is a level 3 monster, one that not even Hiju could beat. People are going to die. No matter what. A lot of them are going to die. He wonders what the hell Choi could be thinking. Suddenly, Jayu and Hiu look up, alarmed. A massive rift is tearing open the sky. They have no idea what it is, but Choi is flying straight for it. With a powerful kick, Choi slams into the massive circle in the sky. A thunderous boom rips through the air. Then, the system announces the Demon King's seal is destroyed. The mission objective updates. The seal shatters, and countless creatures begin pouring out. The system issues a warning. New mission. Kill the Demon King. Failure means game over. The crowd erupts into chaos. People start panicking, screaming at Choi and calling him a lunatic. Jayu is stunned. What the hell is Choi doing? The swordmaster watches from afar. He didn't think Choi would actually do it. But there are some interesting humans around now. He speeds toward the Demon King's seal, ready for a fight. The moment he arrives, he launches into action, slicing down every fallen angel that emerges. One after another. He just wipes them out, watching in awe. Jayu and Hiu are speechless. The swordmaster says, consider this a gift and an assignment for my apprentice. He then turns to Hiu, telling her, you better take this seriously. He says, goodbye. We'll meet again when our fates align. And with that, he vanishes into the battle. Meanwhile, Choi obtains a new item, the Angel's Halo, a legendary accessory that protects its wearer in demonic realms. Standing beside the Demon King, Choi mutters, getting here was easier than I thought. He calls out, hey, are you the Demon King of Sovereignty? Krasha. The creature rises, growling. Never heard of him. Then it asks, how did a human get in here? This is Kit Baba, the Demon King of Authority. A difficulty 6 boss who enjoys crushing things with his bare hands. Choi is confused. Wait. I thought the Demon Kings knew each other. He then turns his back on the monster. This might take a while. He turns back and says, sorry for the trouble. Your opponent is on the way. So, hang tight. The Demon King scoffs. This is humiliating. And swings at Choi. Choi whips around just in time to see the hit coming, his eyes widening. At that moment, the swordmaster arrives, only to find something completely unexpected. The Demon King is bleeding, while Choi dodges every attack effortlessly. The king's hands are raw and completely shredded. Choi shrugs with a smile. Sorry about that. Instinct. The Demon King stares in disbelief. How is a mere human doing this? Choi gives a little bow. My bad. Total accident. The Demon King absolutely loses it. You dare mock me. Choi starts sweating and looks at the swordmaster. You gonna tag me out now? But the swordmaster just speaks calmly. He's not into me anymore. All his attention's on you now. Troy realizes the script has been completely flipped. The plan was supposed to be simple. The goblin swordmaster fights the demon king one-on-one. That was the only way to clear the hidden event, called Martial Artist's Fate. In that event, the swordmaster was supposed to go for mutual destruction with the demon king, sacrificing himself to take the big guy down. If that had actually happened, the rewards would have skyrocketed, giving citizens huge point bonuses. But now, it's totally ruined. Choi slams into the ground at top speed. He gets a new piece of gear. The hare's battle jacket. A legendary armor. He just sighs. What am I even supposed to do with this? He figures he just needs to wait. Let everyone farm points from monsters and end the mission before anyone else bites it. Meanwhile, the swordmaster just watches silently as the demon king tries to turn Choi into a pancake. Winged monster corpses are piling up on the battlefield. Military squads are yelling for civilians to get back inside. We'll intercept the monsters. John is totally wiped. The monsters don't hit hard, but there's just a crazy amount of them. People are getting hurt left and right. John knows with a bitter taste that Troy became public enemy number 1 the moment he broke that seal. And if one person dies today, it's all over. Pichu is heading toward a shelter that called for backup. Halfway there, she takes to the sky, torching every winged monster in her way. She shouts to the crowd below, telling them to evacuate, but the citizens are livid. If that lunatic Choi hadn't broken the seal, we'd have finished this mission already. Hungoo just listens silently. Then, someone walks up beside her and says, "You're just gonna let that slide?" "Honestly, I figured you'd blow a fuse hearing them trash talk your boyfriend, but I guess you're colder than you look." The speaker, Kang Ju-woo, a level 1. Ordinary, citizen. Annoyed, Hiu asks whoever said Choi was her boyfriend. Kang Ju just shrugs. Whatever. Then he tosses Hiu his bag of cookies, saying it's for saving his life and the escort duty. She glances inside the bag. There's only half a freaking cookie left. Suddenly, the swordmaster jumps in front of Choi, telling him to back off. He smirks, teasing. What? Getting attached to me now? Choi, flustered, fires back. If we'd met in some other world, maybe we could have grabbed a drink. Without another word, the swordmaster charges into battle. Choi feels a pang of guilt. It's way too late to trigger the martial artist's destiny, but even if it wasn't, he'd probably still feel guilty. Then, the system suddenly dings with an announcement. Friendship with Goblin Swordmaster has maxed out. A hidden ability from Kran has been unlocked. Troy is totally confused. He had no idea that was even possible. He grins down at his book, amazed at its power, like some awesome level-up manhwa. The goblin, now looking beat, admits the Demon King is tougher than he thought. But now, it's time to bust out his ultimate move. A life-risking technique. All for his friend and student. But Troy is faster. He charges the Demon King and takes him down first. The Swordmaster is completely stunned. Even the Demon King can't believe what just went down. All of a sudden, the enemy explodes and a system alert flashes. Demon King defeated. Top contributor, Choi. The Swordmaster is just speechless. He doesn't get what just happened. Another alert. All summoned monsters have been eliminated. The goblin starts to fade, but Choi bolts over, grinning like crazy while clutching his book. He's unlocked a new ability. He can now recruit 4 sovereign masters. He's allowed to form a spirit contract with a creature. The system asks, "Wish to form a spirit contract with the Goblin Swordmaster? Seriously?" After all that, Choi falls from the sky, thinking to himself, hated by humans. And now he's allied with monsters. Now he's contract-bound to the Swordmaster. Choi realizes he's drifting even further from being human. A new announcement rings out. Surviving citizens will be rewarded. The general reward is 800 points. The top reward goes to Choi, 200,000 points. And of course, everyone is furious again. Fu takes a deep breath as Kang watches from a distance. He looks at Choi falling from the sky and wonders, is that guy a golden hero? Or the fuse on a ticking time bomb? Jayu reflects. I'm no gamer, but this feels like a base defense with tons of troop deployment. He questions whether a maxed-out unit is even supposed to exist in this game. Could someone really exist who beats a Demon King, or is Choi just a glitch in this level-up manhwa? The system suddenly reports. Abnormal unit detected. Target. Choi. He has max level and max stats. Now a decision must be made. Eliminate. Reset. Subjugate. Or summon. The player chooses to eliminate the unit. Something catches Choi's attention. He wonders if he's just imagining it. He feels like someone is watching him. The system responds, "Error. Command could not be executed." A full inspection of the selected unit begins. Choi's profile flashes up. Then, his unit is set to hidden. Other players can no longer see him. From now on, Choy is invisible in the system. The player may now return to the game. Meanwhile, the citizens are celebrating, spending their points in the shop. A messenger activates a magical item, a magic class accessory, to announce the results of the reward data analysis. There are 7 types of dice, each with different sides based on type. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20, and 100-sided dice. Most are tied to specific classes. Items, weapons, tools, and gear are generated at random. Jang, for example, receives a Destiny Spork, a heroic class accessory that always returns to the user, never gets lost, and is always clean. He looks at it and mutters, "I guess high-class gear doesn't always mean it's something good." Meanwhile, people are overjoyed with the items they received. They start trading, selling, and negotiating. The population is beginning to organize. Some are recruiting attackers for the next mission. Others are seeking defenders for evacuation zones. John turns to Hiu and asks, "Are you really leaving?" She nods. "Yeah. I don't think the military is my thing. There are still so many people hiding in fear. I want to help them." But she adds she still plans to support the missions. So Jayu doesn't need to worry. He watches her go, thinking to himself, little by little, we're getting used to this crazy world. From a distance, Choy watches silently. The citizens are off to a good start. The champion, who'll be essential for future missions. And the military. Alright, they've both made their moves. What happens next is what really counts. If the plan he set in motion fails, the city falls by his own people's hands. Koi just takes a second to reflect. Suddenly, a tap on the shoulder. He spins around, surprised to see a girl saying hello. It's Kangju Wu. She's level 5. Just a regular citizen. Koi's floored that she just appeared like that. He asks how in the world she got up there. "I just climbed," she says casually. As she steps closer, Shou tenses up. Then Kang says, "I figured you'd be lonely, all isolated up here. But you look totally used to it." Kai just frowns. What's that supposed to mean? But she doesn't answer. Instead, she says, "Nothing's getting fixed today. But I'll be back later." Troy blinks, confused. "Then why bother coming up here?" Grinning, Kang teases him. "You won't figure that out just by staring at your book." Koi replies, "Sadly, thoughts don't show up in the data." As she turns to go, Kang adds, "That's good. I just wanted to see your face. The face of the fool who could have taken the whole city but chose the hardest path anyway." Then she leaps off the building, attached to a rope. He was totally caught off guard. That whole encounter and her sudden exit left him seriously rattled. A citywide announcement flashes. The city's experience level has gone up. The city is now level 1. Citizen features are getting an upgrade. They can now customize interfaces, block or add friends, and message others directly. Parts of the city's infrastructure are also getting a physical upgrade. Toy realizes the city's XP goes up when citizens spend points. He's a bit frustrated his own points don't count towards the total. Then a thought hits him. Where exactly are the points I spend going? He figures they're probably absorbed by the book's demon owner and wonders if it's really okay to keep using it. Elsewhere, Jang gets a new badge. He's a second lieutenant. Kimong celebrates the level-up Manhwa-style promotion, though Jayu just looks wiped. From a distance, Kang watches it all unfold. She mutters, "They're doing great, but where do I fit in? A fragile citizen like me in a city this dangerous." Meanwhile, Choi sits silently before his book. Then, a new system message pops up. A new turn has started. They've reached the house trap of the Golden God. The city's been captured by the Golden God, and if they don't satisfy him in time, it's game over. The Golden God's greed level is 2. There will be 4 maps, and the mission will last 2 weeks. Jayoung studies the details. He hadn't expected the units to change this drastically. They have to find treasure hidden on the summon maps and bring it back. The treasure's value directly impacts the Golden God's satisfaction level. But here's the catch. The treasure can only be appraised inside the city. Everyone starts looking around, totally confused. This time, no monsters are spawning in the city. And if someone else actually completes the mission, everyone gets the overall reward. But then another announcement appears. There won't be a general reward this time. Each player's reward depends only on how much they satisfy the Golden God. That news really ticks people off. Some of them barely have proper combat gear. Kenju watches it all go down. She notes how long and complicated the mission description is, so she decides to skip all that for now and heads right into the mission. She's determined to explore the whole map on her own. Sai watches from a distance. The researchers have been incredibly lucky with dice rolls. If everything goes well, they will complete the first level of the city's development plan with this mission. Until then, he plans on using the Book of Christina. After that, he'll figure out how to ditch it. Suddenly, a sword bursts out from inside the book. It pierces directly through Croy's chest. He's stunned, with no idea what is happening. The book slips from his hand and a system message pops up. The number of sovereignty sacrifices in the last mission, 0. Croy clutches his chest. The pain unbearable. Then the system declares this the Demon King's punishment. Demon King Christina chastises him for being idle. Until the user offers sacrifices of sovereignty, they will suffer intense pain, and their HP will continuously drop. If no sacrifices are made before HP hits 0, the individual will die, and the Book of Christina will choose a new owner. Sector A. The jungle. A group arrives and discovers a dungeon. It looks like an unregistered one. One guy says it's perfect. They'll have the whole place to themselves. Another suggests reporting the dungeon's location to the military for 50 points each. But the first guy asks what good 50 points will do. He's carrying a weapon called Black Flame Dragon, a medium fire damage weapon with bonus power when held in his right hand. Their team name is Kangs and Roses. Their leader is Kang Doyop, level 3. There are 4 members in total, and they are determined to make a name for themselves in this new world. Suddenly, a dark and eerie figure appears at the dungeon's exit. The group is startled. Someone wonders if it is a gatekeeper monster. Another guy remarks how easy it is to spot the patterns now. They used to be raid leaders and guild masters. To them, this world's just a playground, like some level-up manhwa, until they saw something strange. The thing that walks out of the dungeon is Choy. He casually says, "The gimpy one's the boss." He starts rattling off dungeon details on how to get rid of the enemies inside. The team tries covering their ears, desperate not to hear it, but Choy just keeps on talking. Later, Kang complains, "We became sovereignty sacrifices on the darn first day of the mission." They can't believe how unfair it all is, and they're furious. Someone says something has to be done about that guy Choy, but another replies, "What can we do? He's max level with a mythical grade weapon." So they decide to abandon this mission and just keep quiet. They're now stuck inside the sovereignty sacrifice isolation zone. Inside, people are talking, trying to figure out how Choy has been picking them off. One was caught in the jungle group, another in the canyon. They are all fed up, saying Choy looked like a demon. There is no way someone like him is a good person. These were his true intentions. People got so creeped out by his face that honestly they were about to ditch the whole sovereignty thing and just go treasure hunting instead. But in the end, they didn't want Croy to benefit, so they came back to the isolation zone. Everyone there is seriously stressed out. They're tired of being manipulated by Choy like pawns in his personal level-up manhwa. The system chimes in. Sovereignty sacrifices have officially hit 2,000. The Demon King is slightly less peeved, so the punishment gets dialed back a bit. Choy thinks the pain is now almost bearable. He reflects that this juicy little detail was nowhere in the item description. He had no clue the Demon King had this punishment in store. Clearly, the book's not spilling all its secrets. Still, Choy breathes a sigh of relief. This level of pain is manageable. It's about what he'd braced himself for. The Demon King might think he has Choy on a leash, but really, Choy's running the show. In Sector B, the canyons, a winged beast soars overhead. It's the Emperor Griffin's nest. The Griffin is a level 3 monster, but battle it in its nest, and the difficulty just skyrockets. The creature dives straight for Choy. Meanwhile, Hiu is battling a stone troll, a level 2 beast, adapted for the canyon environment. She recalls a lesson from the Goblin Master Swordsman, Jack. Power was never meant to be controlled. She finishes the monster, thanking her master. The apprentice is now even stronger. And then, out of nowhere, she spots Kangju right beside her, happily looting a treasure chest. Hiu is baffled. "Why are you following me?" Without missing a beat, Kangju grins. "Sticking with you has its perks." She says it so shamelessly, with such pride, that Hiu is left speechless. Teasing her, Kangju asks if she'd really ditch a fragile civilian in a place like this. Hiu says she would. But first, she pings someone the treasure's location. From atop a canyon, a monster silently observes them. Hiu then points out Kangju's bag seems kinda small for someone who's been tailing her all day. Kang shrugs. Quality over quantity. A classic level-up manhwa move. You can't know what the treasure is until it's appraised back in the city. So, she's just grabbing stuff that looks cool. Hiu raises an eyebrow. What filter are you using? Kang, blunt as ever, replies. My eyes. Hiu has to chuckle. Kangju's a little weird. But honestly, she's kinda awesome. Then Kang asks about Hiu's friends. Hiu says she took care of the monsters on the way. Kang goes quiet, then asks if she's really that naive. The monsters aren't the real threat on this mission. And this is no friendly treasure hunt, either. It's a free-for-all solo mission where, like in a level-up manhwa, the rewards aren't shared. Treasure isn't yours until it's appraised. So, obviously, people figure it's easier to fight other players than monsters. Meanwhile, at a motel, the police are on the scene. A detective arrives, looks like another case of stolen treasure. He's Detective Su Unsuk, and his partner is Kang Duchik. An officer reports the victim passed out during the appraisal, and when they came to, the treasure was gone. Su Unsuk mutters they should have just handed it to the Golden God. Appraisals take anywhere from 1 to 12 hours, randomly. It's like the system is encouraging theft. So annoying. The detective asks why Kang Duchik is interpreting that as a green light to rob people. Duchik just shrugs. Seems like a pretty human take to me. The other cops are floored by how casually Duchik talks to his superior. Suddenly, one of the officers yells, "It's Choi!" They whip around and see Choi riding in on a griffin. But before he can land, Detective Su Unsok covers his mouth. He's rocking the phone-back gloves, a legendary grade item, one of the 3 divine relics. They let him strike with wind and control the air around him. Su Unsok launches an attack, slamming Choi hard into the ground. Kang Duchik quickly orders the officers to issue an alert on Choi and get everyone out of the area. He watches the brawl, quietly impressed, as the guy rushes Choi despite being outmatched in gear and level. That's the kind of professional instinct you have to respect. Su Unsok glares at Choi furiously. But then he notices something. Choi isn't dodging. He doesn't even look surprised. So he demands to know what Choi is scheming. Notifications start blowing up across the city. Apparently, Choi's been busted by the detective. The citizens go absolutely wild with excitement. Everyone scrambles for their gear to go treasure hunting. Back in Sector A, the jungle, we hit the Goblin Village. Adventurers are swarming the place, hunting monsters for all kinds of sweet loot. One soldier, Wang Min Wu, level 3, charges in, swinging a heroic-grade axe. Another soldier joins him. His name is Li Wuan, and he's using a heroic-grade bow. They start picking off the goblins one by one. Wang and Li start bickering. Wang wants to know why Li brought a bow instead of a rifle, since the bow's way less accurate. But before the last goblin can bolt, a sharp strike nails it right in the head. It was Sergeant Park Shank. He grumbles that those 2 knuckleheads will have to make it up to him later. He then radios the platoon commander, reporting that the area has been secured. The commander is Jayu, who confirms they're all clear on their end. 2. Meanwhile, a goblin starts casting a spell. He cackles that his god will soon descend, and no one will escape death's clutches. He locks eyes with Jayu and says his end will spread like trees in a forest. But right then, a soldier activates the explosion ring, a magical class item, wielded by soldier Kim Kwang-soo. A massive explosion just obliterates the spot where the goblin stood. Jayu watches and mutters that attacking something mid-transformation or summoning is kind of a cheap shot. But hey, they're soldiers. Life isn't a cartoon. The military then storms a compound. They report that they've located the target, the 18 missing civilians. Most are injured, so they request backup. Meanwhile, back at Military Command HQ, Kimong says he's sending backup and that the engineering unit is rolling out too. They plan to turn that Goblin Village into a forward operating base. Just like in a real-life level-up manhwa. He then gets on the line with Jayu, saying he heard Choi got pinched. He asks if Jayu has any clue what Choi's real plan is. Jayu replies that the scariest part of Choi isn't his book of info. It's how he knows exactly how to use it. But he isn't the enemy. The griffin lets out a groan and just slumps down in front of the officers, clearly exhausted. Looks like it's Choi's turn. Choi is demolishing a well-served meal like he's been starving for days. Kang Duchik watches, remarking that, apparently, even high-rankers get hungry. Detective Su Unsok walks in, asking if they're having a nice little chat. Su Unsok then announces, Choi is officially a criminal suspect, charged with theft, fraud, and even taking a life. Raising a hand, Choi says he admits to it all and will take full responsibility. Smirking, Suwon-sok says he's been at this for 20 years. One look is all it takes to spot a criminal. He adds that Choi doesn't really seem like a bad person. This whole thing looks more like an accident. The detective approaches, saying, "This is like the Good Samaritan law. Except that's not a thing in Korea." Smiling, Sue says he will clear up the public's misunderstanding of the guy. Clattering a spoon on the table, Choi says he wasn't looking for any help. At that moment, the detective is totally confused. But the chat is cut short when a soldier rushes in with urgent news. Someone with a heroic class item is on a robbery and murder spree. Since there are few strong people available, the team is struggling badly. They immediately hop on a bus to the crime scene. Duchik says that when missions have no rewards, cooperation vanishes, which is how it should have been from the start. Total chaos to forge a new order. It would be a perfect fit for a world of superpowers. Seo complains, telling the guy he should think like a sane person. Besides, he doesn't get this stuff from another world. But whatever. They're still human. A person is about to die, and they call for help. The attacker doesn't care at all. But the detective appears and intercepts the blow, then says he's under arrest for robbery and attempted murder. And if he even thinks about resisting, things will get a little violent. Scared, stiff, the guy surrenders immediately. Seo drags him to the bus. Duchik states that the old laws of the land are now totally meaningless. The best play would be for them to become kings of the city. And with his help, it wouldn't be hard. The detective says that's why he keeps him so close, as the most dangerous person in the city is Duchik himself. In his head, Duchik thinks something is strange, no matter what. He can't guess what Ula's thinking. It's like a complex level-up manhwa plot. But then it hits him. Looking at Seo, he says that starting today, they're going to be busy. Since the protagonist is locked up, it's a golden opportunity for others. Duchik thinks Ule's true goal is destruction, but Sue defends him, saying the boy is a good kid. The guy says people aren't laughing, they're hiding. In the cell, we see our protagonist sitting there, sweating. He says it has now become a battle of patience. The system says Christina is still not satisfied and needs more sacrifices. Our boy uses an item to multiply himself. Smoke appears all around him. Soon, his other self appears before him. Using the invisibility cloak, Ule vanishes, telling the clone to do a good job and last as long as possible without getting caught. After the protagonist leaves, the clone awakens. A soldier arrives, asking why Ule is taking so long to come out. Turning around, the clone has an unfriendly face and slightly intimidates the soldier. As if it would help. He says there are reinforcements, so he better not try anything funny. Suddenly, Ule's clone strolls out of the cell. He calmly says he won't try anything. The griffin outside starts acting strangely, for some reason, and it just starts flying. People are completely baffled. We see our real hero is still invisible. He declares stage 1 of his plan is complete. Now, stage 2 begins. The army splits into 2 squads. One team handles the inside while the other handles the outside. Civilians can also choose which group to join. Even people without combat skills found their purpose. Since then, the mission has been progressing without a hitch. Inside the outpost, formerly the Goblin Village, Quan says they cleared a huge sector in just 2 days. But if humans had just cooperated, it would have been a cakewalk from the start. The Surge recalls his superior, saying the city's vibe is off. More and more treasure is being